All right, welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a seriously fascinating piece of engineering called OnTrack AI. What we're looking at here is a zero-trust, multi-agent fleet that was built specifically to tackle a massive, often silent crisis in higher education, and that is student retention. We're going to jump right into the architecture behind this system because, honestly, the engineering here is just as elegant as it is absolutely necessary for protecting vulnerable student populations.
So here's our diagnostic checklist for this deep dive. Number 1, the retention blind spot. 2, the multi-agent architecture. 3, zero trust security. 4, injection and crisis prevention. And finally, number 5, technical validation and deployment. Let's get to it.
Section 1. The retention blind spot. Lagging indicators versus latent signals.
Okay, so to ground this, we're looking at a very real high-stakes scenario at an institution in Sonora, Mexico. They were facing a literally devastating 49% cohort dropout rate. I mean, imagine nearly half the class just disappearing. And this wasn't about a lack of student capability at all. This was a crisis driven by severe digital poverty, grueling 90-minute commute times, and students working really long hours off campus just to survive.
Now, traditional legacy systems, they completely fail here because they rely on what we call lagging indicators, things like bad midterm grades or disciplinary flags that only show up after 45 days. Well, by that time, the student's psychological disconnect has already happened, right? It's too late. OnTrack AI completely flips the script by focusing on latent signals. It actively monitors really subtle behavioral shifts, like how long it takes a student to download an assignment, or if their learning management system account goes dormant. It flags that risk in under 72 hours, meaning you can actually step in with proactive micro-interventions before the student gives up.
Moving on to Section 2, the multi-agent architecture, the decoupled topology.
Let's just go ahead and dismantle the whole myth of the giant monolithic AI, right? To actually operate at scale and not break down, OnTrack uses a highly structured agent-to-agent topology powered by the Google Agent Development Kit. Rather than one big, overloaded model that's super susceptible to context rot, information flows smoothly from the Moodle server at the top down into specialized individual agents before finally converging at the core orchestration layer. This decoupled approach is absolutely vital.
So how does that collaboration actually work? Well, it breaks down into 4 steps. Step 1, the telemetry agent scrapes data out at the edge. Step 2, the psychometric agent steps in to evaluate those metrics within a very strictly bounded domain. Step 3, the core orchestration layer kicks in, kind of like the conductor of an orchestra. And finally, Step 4, the intervention agent deterministically generates action plans. And because these isolated agents communicate exclusively via structured JSON payloads, raw internal data is never ever exposed between them. It's totally walled off.
Which brings us to Section 3, Zero Trust Security, specifically the 7-pillar agent security model.
Listen, when you're dealing with vulnerable student demographics, zero trust is not just a nice-to-have, it's non-negotiable. Before a single drop of data hits the AI runtime, all personally identifiable information, or PII, is completely sanitized right at the API gateway. Real student names? Stripped. The system uses tokenized masking instead, creating cryptographic pseudo-identifiers. Think of it like a random string, like a SHA-256 token. The actual true identity mapping happens exclusively in a secure, local PostgreSQL environment that is entirely closed off from the AI. So the system literally never knows who it's analyzing.
Section 4, Injection and Crisis Prevention, defending the execution boundary.
So what actually happens when the system encounters malicious inputs, or even more importantly, a student in severe emotional distress? Well, while a stable environment just processes metrics normally, the security monitoring actively watches for manipulation. If a user tries to force their risk profile to low with an adversarial prompt, the system instantly flags it with an override attempt blocked alert. The AI quarantines that rogue instruction immediately, no questions asked.
The underlying technical concept making that block possible is called context hygiene. Simply put, this is the strict enforcement of data instruction separation, using pedantic schemas. Basically, the system treats absolutely all forum text or Moodle inputs as untrusted data strings. They are never, ever concatenated directly into the core system prompts, which completely neutralizes any adversarial attempts to manipulate the AI. It's a brilliant safeguard.
But honestly, even more critical than that is the stateful circuit breaker.
If the core orchestrator detects any textual indicators of domestic violence, self-harm, or deep emotional crisis, this deterministic guardrail is triggered instantly. It hard stops all automated AI processing and routes the case directly to a human tutor for triage. Because in high-stakes scenarios like that, immediate human intervention and empathy must always supersede automated logic.
And finally, Section 5, Technical Validation and Deployment, proven in the Cloud Engine.
We've got the empirical data to prove this architecture is absolutely production-ready. On the Kaggle Standardized Agent Exam, the OnTrack system achieved a 98.2% intent satisfaction rate and 100% trajectory adherence, meaning zero infinite loops. But most impressively, it boasts a 100% perfect defense rate against adversarial jailbreaks and a 0% instruction leak rate. Mathematically speaking, it is basically an impenetrable shield.
And to support that kind of precision at scale, OnTrack relies on a cloud-native serverless topology. It utilizes Google Cloud Run and the Vertex AI agent engine, paired up with a lightning-fast FastAPI execution layer. Plus, by integrating open telemetry for trajectory tracing, if an agent ever were to enter a logical loop, an autonomous kill switch just activates on its own. This guarantees zero manual infrastructure management while scaling perfectly to meet massive student volume.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. If a zero-trust architecture can accurately predict and prevent academic failure within a mere 72 hours, is traditional education totally obsolete in the face of modern vulnerabilities? It is genuinely fascinating to see how cutting-edge multi-agent AI can drive such profound social impact. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep exploring.